What did you do when you realized your daughter was being abused? I came home early from work with a headache, expecting the house to be empty since my teenage daughter Georgia had cheer practice. But instead I heard voices upstairs. I was about to call up when I heard her say, "Please stop, you're hurting me." Everything inside me went cold. Then came her boyfriend Paxton's voice, low and menacing. "You embarrassed me in front of my friends today." The sound of a slap echoed through the house, followed by my daughter crying. I ran up those stairs and burst through her bedroom door. Paxton had Georgia backed against the dresser, his hand around her throat. The second he saw me, he dropped his hand and stepped back like nothing had happened. "Oh, hi, Mrs. Johnson. We were just—" I cut him off. "Get out of my house, now." He looked confused, putting on that innocent act. "I was just helping Georgia with—" "Get out!" I screamed. He grabbed his backpack and left, but not before whispering something to Georgia that made her face go white. The moment he was gone, I turned to Georgia. Her face was red and swollen from crying, finger-shaped bruises already forming on her throat. "Georgia, what the hell was that?" She immediately started making excuses. "Mom, we were just playing around. He wasn't really hurting me, but I could see the fear in her eyes." "Playing around? He had his hand around your throat." She broke down completely then, sliding down the wall until she was sitting on the floor, sobbing. Through her tears, she told me everything. How it had started with him grabbing her arm too hard when he was angry, how it escalated to slapping and pushing, how he'd convinced her it was her fault. He'd threatened to kill himself if she ever left him, told her that no one would believe her because he was so perfect. She felt completely trapped, especially with homecoming just 3 days away, and the entire school expecting them to be crowned king and queen. She begged me not to call the police, convinced that no one would believe her. "He'll say I'm lying," she sobbed. "Everyone loves him. They'll think I'm crazy." That's when the idea hit me. What if we didn't have to convince anyone? I said. What if we made him show everyone exactly who he really is? I explained my plan. It was risky, but she was desperate enough to try anything. On homecoming night, she got ready like nothing had changed. When Paxton picked her up, he was back to his charming self, acting like nothing had happened. "Sorry about the other day, Mrs. Johnson. Georgia and I were just goofing around." I wanted to punch him, but instead I smiled and said, "Have fun tonight." At the game, I sat in the stands with my heart pounding. During halftime, they called the homecoming court to the field. Georgia walked out there hand in hand with Paxton, both wearing their crowns. When the microphone was passed to Paxton for his speech, Georgia suddenly reached out and took it instead. She looked terrified but determined. "I can't do this anymore," she said, her voice cracking. "Everyone thinks Paxton and I are perfect together, but he's not perfect. He hurts me." Paxton's face went dead white. He reached for the microphone and hissed, "Give me that right now." But Georgia stepped back and kept talking. "He hits me when he's mad. He chokes me when I talk to other people. And I've been lying to everyone because I was scared you'd think it was my fault." Paxton made his fatal mistake right then. Instead of trying to deny it, he grabbed Georgia's wrist and twisted it, exactly like he'd done 100 times before. "Shut up," he snarled, loud enough for everyone to hear. "You're embarrassing me." Georgia yanked her arm away and shouted into the microphone, "See? He just did it again, right in front of all of you." The crowd erupted. People were shouting, booing, his own teammates backing away from him. Georgia was shaking, but she kept hold of that microphone. She looked out at the crowd and said, "I'm done being scared of him. I'm done lying for him." Then she dropped the microphone and walked off the field with her head held high. Later that night, 3 other girls came forward with their own stories about Paxton. He was arrested and charged with multiple counts of domestic violence. Georgia kept her homecoming crown on her dresser, and every time she looks at it, she remembers the night she found her voice when it mattered most.